I've struggled with sleep all my life, and it basically started when I was around the age of 10, and that's when my father took his own life. I don't know why he did it, and I guess it did keep me up at nights. But I guess there were other physical problems as well, with the makeup of my face or whatever. And I would, when I went to school, I could hardly concentrate. I would be nodding off in class. I'd always get into trouble from the teachers for not paying attention. When I was there, it was a very distressing time. For instance, at night, I would have to go into the gun pit, and you have to stay awake for 2 hours. So you're sitting in the gun pit, you put your hand on the gun, and this would be a constant thing. Sometimes I'd be lying in my sleeping bag, and because my snoring was just so irritating, people would literally come up and punch me in the face. I also had a lot of anxiety because of what happened while I was in Iraq. When I think back to my PTSD, I was in a troop bus, and we were traveling to Iraq. There was this huge explosion, and again, out of the blue, and behind me, I could just hear people shouting and screaming. I could hear the shrapnel like running across the top of the bus. It was like this flickering, and I was just panicked. I was in a total, I remember thinking, this is it, I'm going to die. I've had about 15 sleep studies, and they got as high as 80 sleep apnea episodes an hour. So basically I'm not getting any sleep. Through the 15, 20 years, I've had pillar implants, which were put into the roof of my palate in order to toughen it. That didn't work. I had my deviated septum fixed. That didn't work. And the worst thing of all, I had my tonsils out, because I really thought they would help, and they didn't help at all. I used to get sore nose, black eyes from nasal operations. I might as well have, the amount of money I spent, I could have just gone into a pub fight and everything would have been sorted.
There's a small percentage of patients where CPAP, despite multiple efforts, will not work. And for these patients, apart from the fact that you have to lose weight as a mandatory measure, maxillofacial surgery and sometimes ENT surgery can be looked at as possible options to improve sleep apnea. Another thing Gary did was using a device around his neck, which stops him from falling onto his back when he sleeps. This prevents him from having apneic events on his back.
When I look back on my childhood, when I was a teenager and as a young adult, I think sleep apnea has thwarted my potential as a human being. And it's only now that I'm sort of growing up and seeing the light, I feel much better, and since I was treated, I'm starting to live again, and it feels really good.